One person in our Northwest Zone who tested positive for COVID-19 has died. It was someone in the 70 to 79 age group. There are 130 new cases in Saskatchewan, with 5 in the immediate Lloydminster area, including 13 in the Northwest. Our zone has 120 active cases, with 1,285 cases active province-wide. 103 people are in hospital, including 6 in the Northwest. More than 740,000 vaccine doses have been administered province-wide, with close to 48,000 in our zone. 2 competing Lloydminster grocery stores are teaming up to help feed local students and support the Bike for Breakfast fundraising initiative. Lloydminster and District Co-op and Sobeys Lloydminster have each donated $25,000 to Bike for Breakfast. The fundraising group consists of 10 local bikers traveling a round trip from Lloydminster to Tufnell, Saskatchewan. They have the goal of raising $200,000 for school breakfast programs in Lloydminster and the surrounding area. When the rival stores were first approached about this partnership, it was seen as a no-brainer to support the cause.
As another local grocer, we both talked about really what's the objective, what's the outcome, and really it's for the kids. There should be no competition when it comes to community support, and we both felt that way, and so we are really happy to participate together in this.
Organizers say there is a real need to support breakfast programs as they've seen funding cuts recently. With families struggling during the pandemic, more kids are going to school hungry, and breakfast programs help give students the fuel to succeed.
Obviously a win for the student, getting nourished for their school day, and it's also a win for the teachers and admin staff at these schools, because I know as a coach and as a teacher type thing, when you have focused children, and they're obviously a lot more focused when they're not hungry, so it just makes everyone's job and life a lot easier.
With this donation, Bike for Breakfast has already surpassed their goal by $50,000, but are still accepting donation. More information and the link to donate can be found on the Bike for Breakfast Facebook page. The cyclists start their journey on Friday. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, we take a look at a few grade 7 students who came up with a creative way to raise money for one local organization. It's not very often you see 2 13-year-old girls running a business, but these 2 Bishop Lloyd Middle School students put their STEM and 3D printing skills to use as a way to give back to the Lloydminster and District SPCA.
So we designed and started a company in which we offered a custom design and print 3D object, and math was used to figure out the pricing for each of the 3D objects depending on the filament required and time required.
The girls created their own website and used an online program called Tinkercad to plan out the projects. The students printed a range of items and sold them for $1 each.
As of now, we've only offered this program to Rundle Park's grade 5 and 6 classes, and the demand for 3D printed items was an overwhelming success. We definitely did not expect how many orders we received. In the future, we hope to expand our business to other grades, classes, possibly even schools. Right now, our total donation is $205.
To start the business, they got support from a few teachers at school. With one of them noticing how hard the girls work, she wanted to help support them to take the next step.
Seeing their excitement, their hard work, their persistence in achieving these goals and working so hard, it's been something that I've not yet experienced and have really enjoyed watching them excel through this.
Earlier in the school year, the students learned about other women involved in STEM, and the girls believe the skills they learned from those women, as well as the ones learned from the business, will be very beneficial in the future.
Those skills can be used in everyday life, like in a job, or if we start different businesses in life, or even like during university, to be resilient and patient and able to problem solve. I think that will be very helpful.
And that's it for this week's Beyond the Classroom.
Beyond the Classroom is brought to you by Lakeland College, home to the most hands-on education in Canada. Apply today and graduate job ready.
Lakeland College is trying to enhance student success supports with the Great Canadian Giving Challenge. For the month of June, all money donated will help support students and the college a chance to win a big prize. Our Shelby Clark got the details.
I'm speaking with Stacy Wooler at Lakeland College about Lakeland joining Giving Challenge to support student success. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, can we start off with telling us what exactly this challenge is?
Well, thank you very much, Shelby. The Great Canadian Giving Challenge is going on within the month of June, and it's hosted by Canada Helps. And it's a chance for charities like Lakeland College to win $20,000. So the initiative for the month is every dollar that is donated is a ballot into the draw. So every dollar really does count in this month of June, and a great opportunity to take part in this challenge.
Are you able to expand a bit more on what all the money donated throughout this month is going towards?
Yes. So, we have been on a very unique in experience with the college right now. We are wrapping up our Leading Learning the Lakeland campaign in our final month here in June. This campaign has allowed donors and supporters to rally together we're just exceeding our goal of $12 million. And in this final month, this challenge will really help us just continue to push a little bit further. And the areas of support that we're going to focus on with the funds raised will go to enhancing our Indigenous supports for students, supports for athletics teams, the wrestlers athletics, continued enhancement to our mental health support for students. We also are funding for our Safe Spaces initiative, which supports the LGBTQ plus community and education, as well as continued support in that area.
How come Lakeland College has decided to join in with this challenge?
For us, it's a great opportunity to take part in that opportunity to win $20,000. It's an opportunity for individuals to make a $50 donation and a $100 donation and be very impactful with that donation. And new this year, which we're very excited about, is the fact that we can, on our website, create individual teams and challenges within our donors. So you can create a team and challenge maybe your classmates that, if you graduated from Lakeland College, challenge other classmates, as well as challenge your coworkers, your friends, your family, and really make it a fun and exciting opportunity and a way to give back to those students.
And for people unaware, how do they help support Lakeland in this challenge?
Yeah, it's very easy. They can head over to lakelandcollege.ca/giving-challenge. And right on that site, it will walk you through every step you need to do to enter in and create a donation right on that site. If you get lost, just head over to lakelandcollege.ca and follow the prompts to create a donation, and we'll get you to the right page as well. You can always reach out to us. We're glad to walk you through it over the phone and help as well in any way possible.
Now, Stacy, with your personal experience at Lakeland College, how does it feel to see all the support throughout this campaign and with the challenge as well?
It's so exciting to be part of this opportunity within the college. It's elevating those student experiences for the students. So much of our students come into young adulthood and attending college. They're moving away from home, and this transition can be so difficult and something that they've never embarked on. And so every one of these donations can help with the mental health services, supporting those athletic teams, supporting those and creating those safe spaces for those, and really, along the Indigenous support, supporting those students, as well as creating culture and awareness to that very vibrant culture as well. So it's a great opportunity to be part of. The donations are so impactful. And many of the students have said, without these generous donors, it just would have made their time at post-secondary so much more difficult. So,
is there anything else you'd like to add for people to know about for this challenge this month?
I think it's great. We hear that there's other organizations as well participating, and it's great to see the communities rallying behind these organizations. And really, it's an opportunity to to dive into seeing how far a donation can go, and really, that $10, $50 donation could be the one that could win us $20,000. So we really thank everyone for their support this far.
Perfect. Well, thanks again so much for joining me today, Stacy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now our Connor Chan will take a first look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. As we take a look right now, we're kind of seeing this, what we're kind of going to see over the next couple of hours or so. Currently, right now, we're sitting around that 28-degree mark, so a little bit of sun and some cloud coverage there. Overnight, we are going to see temperatures going to 13 degrees as our daytime high. And clear skies expected for tomorrow. The heat warning will still be in effect for tomorrow, as we are going to see those clear skies. So make sure you are keeping yourselves hydrated and cool throughout the heat wave. As our computer still is kind of frozen, we are still in a heat wave for most of this area, as well as in Saskatchewan. We have that pressure of a system of high pressure that's making its way throughout northern Alberta and Saskatchewan, that is going to continue on for the next couple of days, and by the weekend we will start to taper off. I do apologize, as I do see things starting to catch up to me very slowly here, but 28 degrees also in Cold Lake as we talk about them right now. They're also going to see 14 degrees overnight as well, and then 32 degrees with a little bit of clouds for tomorrow throughout the day. And as we kind of go a little bit backwards than normal, here's what we're going to see in North Battleford, currently at that 30-degree mark, and they see 12 degrees overnight with some cloud coverage, and they are going to be very warm tomorrow, hence by the graphic. It's the first time I'm actually seeing this in a very long time here, with 38 as the daytime high, so it is going to be very hot, as those heat warnings are still going to stay in effect for most of Saskatchewan. Looking at our satellite radar map right now, still a little bit of that overcast, but that's going to be going away very shortly, as lots of areas are going to see clear skies for tomorrow, and for the most part. And then as we take a look here at temperatures for most of our area, we did see pretty consistent numbers today, around that 28 to 30 degree mark here. So 28 for us here in Lloydminster, as I mentioned, 30 also out in Maidstone, 29 for Meadow Lake, and also up in Green Lake, as well as in Isle La Crosse. As I did mention, that system of high pressure is making its way through Alberta and Saskatchewan, hence getting that warm temperatures. And also looking out west, we see Vermilion at 29 along with Vegreville, and then 29 also for Marwayne, and 28 up in Cold Lake, with 30 degrees in both Pierceland and in Bonnyville. That's a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
The Northwest Prairie Pirates U18 team kicked off the 2021 season last weekend. The young team struggled early, but as Evan Kenny reports, the team is optimistic time is the solution.
After months of limited practice or limited players, the Northwest Prairie Pirates were back on the diamond in a 2-game stint with the Sask 5 Giants.
Not having everybody together throughout our entire process really made it tough. A lot of what went wrong was due to little unforced errors, things that come at the beginning of the season, that once we start getting going and restrictions get lifted, we'll be able to work out throughout the year.
With 7 rookies on the team, a lack of experience and cohesion led to a 16-1 loss in the season opener.
This year we got a lot of young guys. Last year we had a lot of third years that moved on, but we got a lot of young guys here this year that showed that they can play at this level this year. And we're really looking for our veterans to lead them and to show them what this league's all about at this age.
The team started to come alive in Game 2, but fell just short, losing 2-1 in the final inning.
Our energy was a lot better. They did a great job of coming back from a tough loss where we, didn't play all that well, to bring in the energy and, compete in the second game.
And the team will need to continue that energy this weekend. The team will play their first home game Saturday, hosting the Saskatoon Cubs before a rematch Sunday with the Sask 5 Giants.
Once we get going, I'm expecting the bats to pick up, and home field is the perfect place for that to do.
Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now our Connor Chan will take another look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Sitting around right now, as our temperatures right now, still sitting around that 28-degree mark, and we are going to be a little much warmer for tomorrow. Then it's going to kind of start to taper off as we get ready for the weekend, where we could see some more clouds and even some rain and some thunderstorms in the forecast. But for the immediate future, but for the right now, 29 in Edmonton and Edson, as well as out in Jasper, 28 degrees also for Athabasca and in Red Deer. A little bit warmer in Saskatchewan, where most of the province, as well as in Alberta, is still under that heat warning right now. Temperatures sitting at 31 in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, with 30 in North Battleford, and then 29 up there in Meadow Lake. Up in the northern Saskatchewan areas, we're seeing some 26 degrees areas in La Loche and Buffalo Narrows. La Ronge is also in that heat warning at 28, 21 in South End going into northern Alberta right now, 25 for Fort McMurray, with 21 in Fort Chipewyan, and then 28 degrees in Peace River, and then 21 in Slave Lake. That ridge of high pressure still continuing to make its way through through Alberta and Saskatchewan. Taking a look to temperatures in southern Alberta, 30-degree marks we see here in both Medicine Hat and Lethbridge, along with Coronation. 29 sitting in Calgary right now. Looking at to Saskatchewan in the southern ends, 31 for Moose Jaw. So very warm temperatures, all pretty consistent in those 30-degree marks. So 30s in Swift Current, Regina, Yorkton, and in Estevan. And not just the prairies were warm. We saw most of the country pretty warm all day in those high 20s. You see Winnipeg at 28 degrees, 26 in Quebec City, 25 for Toronto, and then 25 in Halifax. A little bit cooler in St. John's at 19 degrees. Vancouver also seeing some more temperature, sitting at 26 degrees right now, and then Yellowknife sitting up at 17, and then we see a little bit of showers up at the Yukon and Whitehorse at 13 degrees. That heat warning is going to probably continue on into tomorrow, as we are expected to see temperatures get close. Maybe could be seeing a little bit warmer than 34 degrees. We could see that maybe reach 35 for tomorrow, but 34 is what we're expected for right now, and we'll see that number also in Maidstone, as well as we'll see 33s in Marwayne, Vermilion, Wainwright, as Provo sitting at 34 degrees, North Battleford sitting at 38 degrees, so the warmest spot currently on the map here. Macklin also not far behind, sitting at 37, so we're going to have a scorcher of a day tomorrow, and then like I said, should possibly taper off heading into the weekend, but we'll see 35s also in the northern parts of Saskatchewan here in the central part, with Meadow Lake and Green Lake both sitting at 35 degrees. So here's a look at what we could see for the next 7 days. 25 on Friday, as we could start to see a little bit of that cooler air moving forward into Saturday, where we will see that high of 19 degrees. Possibility of some rain for the prairies is also likely. We are going to see that there. So 18 degrees for Sunday. Going into Monday, 17 degrees. We'll see lots more cloud coverage coming in for the week here. We could see that also for midweek. We could see temperatures get back up a little bit warmer by further midweek here. 17 degrees on Monday, and then 20 degrees for Tuesday, and then 22 degrees on Wednesday, where we should see a little bit more cloud coverage and not as much sun as we would have liked to have seen. We're definitely getting above those seasonal averages for the month of June here, as we are seeing temperatures over 20 degrees the last couple of days. That's a look at your weather for now. We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
Stephanie Dobson is back with us this week. Stephanie is a lawyer and mediator here in Lloydminster at Henke Divorce Law and Mediation. And Stephanie, today we are going to be talking about what disclosure means when it comes to separation and divorce. So let's start with that. Tell me exactly what it means when it comes to this process, Stephanie.
Well, the word disclosure in a legal context, especially in family law, is the process of providing information and documentation, which is relating to four main categories: income, expenses, assets, and debts. So in a separation and divorce, documents are required to be exchanged between two separating parties to make sure that both are fully informed before a resolution is able to be reached. Now, some families come into a separation or divorce already generally having an idea of what each of their finances look like, and others are completely in the dark. But either way, before resolution can occur, we need to go through this process called the disclosure process to exchange this kind of information.
So what type of things need to be exchanged back and forth? What type of information exactly are we talking about here, Stephanie?
There's a few layers to it. So the first layer I call the standard disclosure. So these are things like income tax returns, notices of assessment, pay stubs, statement-based documentation like bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement accounts, pensions, life insurance statements, credit cards, other loan kind of details. Maybe if you've got a business, you'll have to provide some business documentation and appraisals for things like tangible assets such as a house or vehicles. Now, once we get through that standard disclosure, there's another layer. And that is going to be depending on your situation. So we may need to dig a little bit deeper. So getting a little bit more forensic, things like full business valuations, full and formal appraisals that you actually have to start spending money on, and other more forensic information relating to any of those areas: assets, debts, income, and expenses. We always start with that standard disclosure, and then we go from there and may need to get a little bit more depending on your situation. When I work with families, I always give them a checklist because, of course, these multiple layers can get very complex. And so hopefully that will help with the overwhelm and to reduce that so that people are able to gather things easily enough.
When should this process start, Stephanie, as far as getting the documentation together for what information you're going to need for disclosure?
I often recommend to families that once you know that the separation is looming or a separation is looming, it's important to start thinking about gathering those documents. First of all, it can be very time consuming. I just gave a whole laundry list of all sorts of things that you need to start to gather. So if you can do it in a way that's not time pressured, is advantageous to you. Secondly, once a separation starts looming, sometimes spouses can start to become more secretive about their documentation or all of their disclosure. And so the sooner that you start to gather that, the less likely it is that you will end up being on the outside and not having access to documents that you need to reach resolution. Now, in the mediation processes that I work in, the starting point of mediation is the full transparency with respect to disclosure. So if you're going into mediation, it doesn't necessarily matter whether you gather it before or after the separation, because that as a foundation is that you need to provide whatever documentation is required.
So how do you arrange to get these documents to the person that is working through your divorce or separation, Stephanie?
Well, it used to be that you would simply drop off all your documents in paper form to your lawyer or mediator's office, and most certainly people can still do that. If you start to get into more of the technology, a lot of people will keep their documents electronically or are in favor of scanning things in, and so you can send them by email, or in our case, we use a client portal, and that's a really handy way to be able to send all of your documents to us because it's secure and everything is all remains in one spot. For us, our biggest goal is to try to reduce the stress of separation or divorce as much as possible with our clients. And so we first start by asking, what's your comfort level with technology? And if someone wants to and just can't handle scanning things in or providing it electronically, we just have them come to our office and drop things off. But for the most part, most of our clients will get on the bandwagon of either email or the client portal, and they tend to love it.
Stephanie, there is so much and so many different areas we've covered in these past few months talking about divorce and separation. Where is the best place if people have questions about disclosure that we talked about today or anything that we have discussed in the past couple of months? Where can they go to either ask questions or to look back on topics that we've discussed in the past?
Sure. The easiest way if people want to call our office and have that verbal connection with us is just by phone, 780-875-2234, or head over to our website, Henka Divorce, Henka, divorce.ca, and there's lots of resources on there. If you have a look under, there's a button that we just put onto our homepage that says Getting Started that really helps you to guide you through the process. It does go through and explain the disclosure process a little bit. Of course, we go through it more in your initial consultation.
All right. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much again for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me, Stacey.
I'm very pleased to be joined with Carly June, Canadian country artist, joining us here on Primetime Local News. We're talking about your new single called Home Team. So take us through what that song's about, Carly.
Yeah, so I'm so excited about the single. I came up with the idea thinking of my hometown. I'm from a small town in Ontario, and uh, we have a hockey team, and the fans in our hometown will support that hockey team till its death, whether the team's doing great or whether the team's doing horrible. They support them, and I was thinking about that, how it's your home team. That's what you do. And I brought that idea into a writing session, and we made it about all those people in our lives that support us in that way. And we decided to make it kind of sound like we were in a sports stadium. And I'm so excited about it. The song means so much to me, and I hope for everyone listening that it will mean something to them too.
When this song was presented to you, because I know it was written by some other people as well, what was the one thing when you heard it that made you go, yeah, I like that, and get all really excited for it?
I think as we built the song, I mean, I came up with the title and I had brought it into the right of home team. And the second my producer, Karen Kasowski, started playing the drum beat that sounded like a marching band in a sports stadium, I just got goosebumps up my arms. And I could just, you felt that feeling of like being in your hometown where, you have that support or whoever that is. And just how we brought in my family into the song, my friends, and just those personal connections. It just felt really, really real to me. And I think that's what makes a song great, is when it feels real and honest. And that's what allows it to connect with people.
Now, whether this song was written during or before the pandemic, did that give you that special feeling still? Because the song does talk about family and friends during times where we really couldn't be with our loved ones.
So we wrote the song pre-pandemic in the fall of 2019. And then I recorded the vocals on the song last summer. And that was in the midst of the pandemic. And it was quite an emotional experience, honestly, recording the vocals of the song when I hadn't been around those loved ones in my life for so long, and you're missing them. And it just makes you appreciate it so much more. So the song definitely took on new meaning during this pandemic.
You do have some other tracks that people seem to be familiar with in the country world, as well as a finalist for a big talent search that helps many new artists get their name out there. So with those things in mind, how beneficial has those things been for your career to this point?
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been kind of a build throughout this pandemic, which is a weird time to really build your career. We were hoping to be able to do a lot of stuff out playing shows, because that's a really important way to be able to connect with fans. But sometimes different opportunities come, and even the people I've been able to write with, I think a lot of doors have opened because of writers being more available during the pandemic. So it's really helped my career grow a lot. And I have to remind myself of that too, because when you're at home and you're in your small apartment, it doesn't always feel that way. But I'm just thankful for the way that it's growing, and for every single opportunity that has come my way, and people that have taken a chance on me.
Now, with the pandemic, of course, it's provided lots of challenges for everybody, especially when it comes to people's mental health, and it did take a toll on a few of us. For you during that time, Carly, what's been something you started to discover about Carly June, the musician, and Carly June, the person?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd be lying if I said this pandemic hasn't been really hard on me too. Whenever people ask questions like this, it's really easy, just to focus on, I've learned this and that. But I think it's important to say, like, I struggle a lot too, especially with mental health during this pandemic. And what it's really taught me is that there's certain things in life that are not guaranteed. And when those things, for me, it was being out performing, doing media and interviews and things like that in person with people. And when those things are taken away, what foundation is there still in your life? And even as a person, where is your identity? Is that still there? And I think it's really important to separate your identity from external things that might be going on in life. So it's really caused me to dig deep into myself and to know, where does that come from? Where does my value come from? And I think that always comes out in the music too. And there's definitely some songs on my record that's coming out later this year that have been inspired by that. And so that's been a tough but really rewarding journey as well.
And lastly, Carly, where can people go to find out more about you and your music?
So I'm on all streaming platforms. So you can basically find the song on any online music platform. And I'd love if they would follow along on social media too. It's Carly June on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, there.
Well, Carly, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. The new single of Carly June's, Home Team, is out now to have a listen. Carly, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great rest of your night.